Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as we're going along if you're enjoying the content. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bowman, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 asexual stories, love, life and sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. I'm also the founder of Asexualist and the founder of Asexualized Academy. If you didn't know, I founded Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month back in 2017 when I published this book. So Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month is to celebrate our diversity across this asexual spectrum and our differences within it. So welcome to tonight's episode. As always, throughout Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, I will be reading excerpts from this book. I do have to give you a brief warning, a fact that my Mac is playing up at the moment and is deciding to repeatedly play Iron Man 2 from my iTunes library. All of a sudden, it just started randomly playing this afternoon by itself. And it's weird. And every time I try to stop playing it, it keeps playing. And I keep quitting iTunes and it keeps coming back on. So I'm hoping that it's going to leave me alone this time because, you know, I can't have that because it's copyrighted coming in my videos and interrupting them. But yeah, I don't know what the universe is trying to tell me, but it's telling me I've got to watch Iron Man 2. So I'm part way through it. So yeah, it's very strange. There must be a subliminal message from the universe in there or something. But yeah, I don't know if you know that my Mac has a mind of its own sometimes. Weird things happen. Like, you know, superpowers, they are true. If you believe in superheroes and superpowers, I can tell you for now, they are totally real. Okay? Anyway, back to tonight's episode. I'm going to be sharing with you excerpts from this book about when these asexuals, or some of them, found out they were asexual. I mean, their stories are very, very interesting. So I'm going to read Adelaide's story, okay? So when did you first discover you are asexual? I can't really define a time when I first discovered I was asexual. Throughout high school, I was never really interested in having a relationship with anyone. I would fake having crushes on people, and I figured everyone was faking as it was considered cool to have a crush on someone. In about 11th grade, I figured out everyone else wasn't faking. Even though I had sort of realised that I was different, I didn't have the word asexual in my vocabulary. Hi, Andy, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Even though I had sort of realised then that I was different, I didn't have the word asexual in my vocabulary. I spent many hours agonising over what box to put myself in. I didn't like boys in that way, so did that mean I was a lesbian? But I also didn't like girls in that way. Did that mean I liked them both equally? So was I bisexual? None of those labels really seem to fit. And I think that can be the problem for some asexuals. They genuinely don't know what sexual orientation they are because, especially growing up when they haven't heard of the term asexuality, because they're like, well, I'm not a normal heterosexual. I'm not sexually attracted to the opposite gender. So what does that make me? And it can be asexuality can be a huge journey and learning curve to discover, like, you know, your own sexual identity and also who you are attracted to in whatever way you do experience attraction, if it's not sexual, you know? So I think for some people, it can be really confusing. I was never confused because I always knew from an early age that I was attracted to guys. Just I never thought about having sex with them. But my romance in my teen years, especially like it is now, it's high levels of romance. I've always experienced really intense romantic feelings, you know. And, you know, I used to like boys at school, but not in a sexual way. You know, I used to like them romantically for a couple of years. Like, crushes don't enter my vocabulary either. I don't even know what a crush is because if I like someone, I either fancy them for a very, very long time or usually skip to the love stage. Even when I was young, I used to fancy a guy for like 2 years. Like, that's a long time for a teenager. It's like, oh, I did say I've got problems with my Mac at the moment, so I'm just gonna have to quickly like try and get rid of this. I got problems with my Mac. It keeps playing Iron Man 2 from my iTunes library over and over again. And every time I tried to quit iTunes, it keeps coming back. It started halfway through this afternoon. My Mac just came on by itself to play. Well, it was already on sleep mode, but it came alive and started playing Iron Man 2. And I don't know what the universe is trying to tell me, but it's saying I need to watch Iron Man 2, and I'm part way through it. And it just keeps playing by itself. And every time I try to quit iTunes, it keeps going back. But obviously, I can't have that interrupting this video because it's copyrighted material. So I will try and carry on. But that's why I was a bit late starting. So if it gets really annoying, I'll have to go off and edit it. But I got 3 other stories I want to read out to you. So I hope it's going to be okay. I have to laugh, you know, it proves there are superpowers, doesn't it? If my Mac just decides to come on like that and start playing a movie by itself, and it keeps doing it, there are superpowers in this world. So if you didn't believe in superheroes before now, I'm telling you, they do really exist. Superpowers are very much alive in the universe. So yeah, here we go. Anon's story. When did you first discover you are asexual? I discovered it applied to me in 2015. I didn't have a set time for an epiphany. It's just slowly connected the dots for me. During the summer of 2013, I watched a documentary about sex, and it touched upon asexuality, which sounded a lot like me. But I pushed it aside and continued thinking I'm straight. After looking through stuff on DeviantArt, I became comfortable with this identity. Before this point, I'd say I'm straight, but it wouldn't exactly feel honest. Now, even though I'm asexual, I always think of myself as a straight asexual. You know, the word heterosexual obviously doesn't apply to me anymore. Sorry. Oh dear. My Mac's really. Oh man, it's hell bent on me watching a superhero movie. Sorry. I think I'm going to be interrupted a lot tonight. Every few minutes it keeps going off, or every half a minute. Oh dear. Right. So anyway.
There's been speculation about
oh my gosh! Stop doing it. Right. Oh dear. My Max is like, I'm sorry. I can't help these technical problems. No escape. No, I know. It keeps coming back. Iron Man 2 wants me to watch it. I don't know what the message is, but there's obviously a message in that film that the universe is telling me you've got to watch this film again. There's something you're missing, Sandra. Something that's meant to be happening to you right now that you need. You know, I just keep quitting. Look, it's quit now. There's no sign on it, right? But I think it's going to keep coming back, you know. And Iron Man, as you know, is my favorite character, and it's Iron Man 2 I've got in my iTunes. And I quit. I even fast forwarded it to the end. Then it started on the other next movie, which is Inception. So I know I'm talking about different things. I'm really sorry, but I have to be honest and say what's going on. You know, you have to understand that things in fiction can become reality. I just have to say that. I actually believe that. I just do. It proves it. You know, I'm not even doing anything. My Mac was going on and off by itself yesterday as well. It's like really weird. Really weird. But I have to say that I've always, even though I'm asexual, I've never considered myself as queer. Throughout my whole asexual journey, since I found out I was asexual in 2014, I've never considered the word queer. I consider myself a straight asexual. The reason why I don't use straight with asexuality is because a lot of people don't understand it. They get confused between whether it means I'm straight, as in I'm not really asexual, or what the heck it means. You know what I mean? And so I use just heteromantic now, but I call myself, you know, I am a straight asexual as far as I'm concerned. I don't identify with the word queer. For me, it doesn't fit me. I don't use it, you know, I don't agree with it for me. I don't like the word for me personally, because I think I'm definitely attracted to guys. There's absolutely categorically no question about that. I'm absolutely attracted to guys only romantically, aesthetically, emotionally, spiritually, creatively, intelligently, pretty much every other way apart from platonic and sexually. Yeah, those are the only 2 ways I don't experience any attraction. So yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? So Ari's story. When did you first discover you are asexual? I first started to question my sexuality around the time I turned 16. I was trying to figure out if I was bisexual because I was in love with a girl but didn't want to have sex with her. I hadn't thought over the idea that I didn't want to have sex with boys either yet. I dated a few boys because I didn't know how to turn them down. And each time I just thought it was that specific boy I wasn't sexually interested in, not sex in general. I eventually took everyone's word for it that I was just a late bloomer. Sorry. I told you, didn't I? This film. Yes, I'll finish watching you film later. Okay, I promise. I will get your message. I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but I will get your message. Universe, thank you. I love you. Right? I know you're looking after me. Angels are watching me. Right. So, right. Where was I talking? Yeah. So I eventually took everyone's word for it that I was just a late bloomer, and concluded I had more important things to worry about. By the time I turned 17, I felt entirely confirmed in my suspicion that regardless of what adults said, I was never going to hit that part of puberty any day now. I was 18 or 19 when I first had the label asexual. Henry's story. How did you discover you are asexual? I first started questioning my sexuality once some of my friends started dating each other in middle school. I had always distanced romance from myself, seeing it more prominently. Seeing it more prominently. Okay, I'll start that bit again. I had always distanced romance from myself, seeing it most prominently in fictitious works, where it's generally exaggerated. But when the people around me started getting involved, it made me wonder, why am I not interested in this? Like, at all. Unlike most asexuals, I actually knew the terms asexual and aromantic through Tumblr before I ever started wondering about my sexuality. So once I did start noticing I was different, it was pretty easy to latch onto the label. It fitted me, so I identified with it. Yeah, it's really interesting as well, because I've got a Skype date on Tuesday, and it's with a demi-romantic, so it's with someone on the aromantic spectrum, which is quite far out, as you know, because I'm a hyper-romantic. But I think they might be a cupier romantic, demi-romantic, from what I understand, because they really love romantic films. They love the idea of romance, just not romantic themselves. But apart from this one time they had an experience with someone that they were in love with. So yeah, that's really interesting for me, you know, demi-romantic. So I don't know how that's going to go, because they seem quite romantic to me, but then most things seem romantic to me, you know. I think a gnome is romantic, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Sorry, God. You know, I think I just see everything as romance. So it's kind of good in a way, because if he is a cupiromantic is someone who's on the aromantic spectrum that really desires a romantic relationship. They strongly want it, even though they're not romantic themselves. So that, you know, but they have I've spoken to some cupiromantics online, and they have some of them have the idea they want to be in a romantic relationship, really strongly desire it, but don't actually want to go through with it. And others really want it badly. They want it to the point of insanity. Like, I need to be in a romantic relationship because I desire the romance so much. So, you know, it's very interesting, that for me. And I think sorry about the film. No, I don't. Sorry, it keeps playing Iron Man, and I'm trying to stop it and quit iTunes. It won't do it. Stop playing more. Oh, dearie me. Sorry. Now it's affecting my stream. I do apologise. Watch Iron Man now. Yeah, I'm gonna watch Iron Man in a minute. Thanks for giving me a thumbs up as well. Keep interrupting Iron Man. Oh my gosh. I'm halfway through it, but I've got to fast forward it again to the bit I was in. But yeah, I'm going to go and watch it in a minute, because obviously it's annoying interrupting. But I just wanted to say, you know, it's going to be a different experience for me. Having a Skype date with someone who's demi-romantic. Hi, Heather. Because I think they're a cupiromantic, demi-romantic. So I don't know how it's going to go, but we seem to have quite a lot in common. And I'm looking forward to it, because he seems a really decent, honest person, and we seem to have stuff in common. So that's going to be very interesting for me. Because I have actually said in the past, I think in one of my videos, that I wouldn't mind being with a demi-romantic, because they can only usually, Iron Man, yeah. So they can only usually experience romantic attraction when a deep emotional connection has been formed, and that comes sometimes only be with a handful of people. So I think if he ever did feel that way towards me, it would be really special. Do you know what I mean? Because he wouldn't feel that way for many people. So I'd really like that, actually. I think that would be quite nice. But I have to see how it goes. We've only just started talking. You know, but they seem a nice person, which should be a good experience. So yeah, and I discovered I was asexual, as you know. You have been listening, Heather. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I discovered I'm asexual in 2014, as you know. So I had all my heterosexual relationships for like half of my life. I mean, that is, you know, I've had sex before, and in lots of different positions doing weird and wonderful stuff. It's like, I mean, my Asexual Sex Stories book I've been working on again today, on 2 stories today, with backwards and forwards editing with their the interviewees. So I'm really looking forward to that book being published in the end. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. Someone else gave me a thumbs up, because I just think it's going to help so many people, and I'm going to be sharing my own personal sex story, which goes on quite a long time, but not every little detail, but just a general overview of it. I think it'll be really helpful, and I'm going to give lots of practical advice that actually is different to what other people have given in the book. So I'm quite, at the moment, my advice, some of it, not all of it, but some of it's very different, like practical advice, like what the bit when you're having sex. I think I'm going to be, so far no one's actually said the thing that I'm going to be saying, so I'm thinking that's quite good, because I do have a lot of experience probably in terms of being asexual and having sex, and I know what good sex looks like, and I know what bad sex looks like. It's like, if you're not sexually attracted to anyone and you have bad sex, it just makes it even worse, because you're like, what's the frigging point of me even trying? Because I don't really want it in the first place. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? There's nothing to keep you entertained or amused. It's just like boring, absolutely boring. It's like, is that it? Wow. Do you know what I mean? It's like eating your worst vegetable and find it utterly boring and putting it in your mouth all the time, thinking, why the heck am I eating this? I just eating it because everyone else is doing it. Like, at Christmas, like Brussels sprouts aren't my favorite, but it's like I'll put Brussels sprouts on my plate to have just a few because it's a special occasion, when really I'm not that keen on them. The taste is not that nice. I think sex is a bit like that, like with someone that's, just to stick it in guy who's just boring. Well, why anyone bother with that if it's that boring? Yeah. I mean, with my last partner of 8.5 years, it wasn't that boring, that he was good at sex. So he did a lot of foreplay and stuff that really sexually stimulated me, that I enjoyed before sex. Like, I wasn't bothered about sex. I'd rather have his finger and his kissing and all that type of thing. He was very good. So that's why I didn't get bored with him. I was with him for 8.5 years, and I did do that, and he tried lots of different positions out because of the book I gave him, which I think I've mentioned before. I gave him this book with different sexual positions, not thinking he'd try it on me, just thinking he'd like to look at the book, because I saw him looking at another book which had actual people doing that. When we went to a bookstore once, we went to a store that had lots of books in it. I don't know if it's an actual bookstore. I don't think it was. I think it sold other stuff. And but I got on this cartoon version. But I didn't think he would try everything out on me. And all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. And I just let him take the lead, I didn't really, he was talking about what the positions were called. And I like, positions? Well, I'm like, like he would say the thing. I'm like, what do you mean? And I'll be like, oh yeah, the book, right? Okay, I get it. You're trying one of the things out. So yeah, I was just saying, get on with it. But I tried lots of different positions. Some of them were more pleasurable physically than others, I have to say. Some of them hurt less than others as well. Some of them I don't like the one, like, I'll be talking about this in my book anyway. I don't like the one where the guy's round the back, really, because I can't see his face. And obviously I'm not attracted sexually to him. So I'm attracted to guy's face. So if I can't see the guy's face, for me, it's like not a nice experience that much. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't feel close to the person. I just feel like it's animal stuff going, like it's an animal thing like they're doing to me. Whereas when I could see the person's face, it's better, because I was attracted to their face and I wanted to kiss them. Do you know what I mean? Whereas where they're around the back of me, it's just like, like, I'm not bothered about the sex. It's like I can't see their face. It's like, what's in it for me? And I think that's really important that I put in the book, as for asexuals. Like, got to think, what's in it for you? Like, if you're going to go through with it, what are you going to get out of it? What physical pleasure are you going to get out of yourself? Because if you're not, it's just like one guy I mentioned before on this channel. He was so aesthetically attractive. I met him in a nightclub, and I don't usually end up in a relationship with someone I met at a nightclub. It's a bit like I was at a point in my life where I didn't care. I split up at that point in my life. It was before my last long-term ex of 8.5 years, and I was with a guy for nearly 7 years, and I was at a stage where I didn't care. I hadn't really been clubbing. I just decided to go clubbing. I decided I'll see what everything this is all about, because I do like dancing anyway. And I was in a stage where I really didn't care about myself, which I know is bad to say, but I really didn't give a toss at that time. I'm like, I've been with the guy for 7 years. He was very abusive. He was abusive as well. And it was really upsetting time, and I just thought, stuff it, I'm going to go out, I'm going to enjoy myself. And yeah, I met this guy who was really hot looking in the nightclub, and I ended up being his girlfriend, but he just wanted sex. After 3 weeks, I was just so bored, I just couldn't do it anymore. I thought, you maybe get really good looking aesthetically in your face, you may cook really nice food for me, and I get on well with you in general, but and I wasn't attracted to him in other ways, but I just, it's boring. It hurt and it was boring. I just couldn't be doing with it anymore. 3 weeks was enough of that. You know what I mean? I couldn't put up with it anymore, because I'm not sexually attracted. I didn't know back then though that what it was because I wasn't sexually attracted. Why are some people I just have to click show. Why are some people bad at sex? A lot of people are bad at sex, right? It can't be that difficult. Well, the thing is sex in and of itself is is when someone sticks it in you. That's what it is, but it isn't that. It's like, sex needs to be, in order for sex to be good, Andy, it needs to be like making love. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be all the foreplay. So if a guy sticks his dick, excuse me, being very blunt here, in a woman, often she's not wet. Without a woman being wet in some way, it hurts her. She needs to be lubricated, usually with the guy's finger. That's what he should be doing. And he should be, sucking her breasts that can make her wet, and touching her in certain places. And you know what I mean? So a lot of guys, they just stick it in. All they think about sticking their penis in the woman. That's all they think about. So I've had sex with 5 guys. 1 was good. The other 4 were rubbish, because they were sticking. Why don't people learn how to do this stuff? Because I need to teach them in a book. That's why. I'll do a book for sexuals, which I am going to be doing, which I have started. Yeah, it's a good job you brought it up, because the sexuals don't have a clue, and because I'm detached from the outcome, I can teach them in a book how to have good sex. Do you know what I mean? Without the pictures, because they don't know how to do it. Seriously, they're rubbish at it. Like 4 out of the 5 guys were rubbish. They were literally stick their dicks in me. That's the attitude they had, and that's all they cared about. It was great for them, because they were having their ejaculation of fluids. I'm being very blunt on this channel right now, because I can talk about it like a matter of fact. That's all they were doing, and it was boring. It's like, is that it? Whereas a guy who's really good at sex will be doing the whole making love experience. They will literally, providing a woman wants this, it has to be consensual, right? A woman has to want to be touched all over. Years ago, when I was in sexual relationships, like with my 8.5-year-old, 8.5-year-old relationship, my ex, not 8.5-year-old. He was like 3.5 years younger than me, not 8.5-year-old. I meant my 8.5-year-old relationship with him. He was very good, because he gave me lots of foreplay. He gave me lots of stimulation physically. Down below, he would I liked the sucking at that point, and in some ways, I was naked with him. He would literally touch me on my body in loads of places that were really sensual and erogenous, and they were really stimulating. So I had a lot of sexual pleasure, actually, just I didn't want the sex. And the intercourse didn't really give me that much pleasure. I felt it was an experience I experienced. It wasn't, it wasn't horrendous. It wasn't nasty. It wasn't horrible as such. Just that I didn't want, I wasn't interested in it. It was consensual. I mean, the time where I talked about on this channel where he wanted me to put this Santa outfit on, which I did, that was horrible. In the sense, it made me feel bad, it made me feel like I was just a dressed up doll, and I didn't like that. I liked being in the Santa outfit because I looked gorgeous in it, but not to have sex, which is what you wanted, and I did do that. I did consent to that, and I remember doing it. It wasn't, the sex itself wasn't really horrible, but I felt horrible. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, but loads of guys, they're not good at sex. Loads of sexuals are not good at sex. I know how to get better and good sex. They don't. Do you know what I mean? They're just oblivious to it. That's why a lot of guys won't stay in relationships for very long, or their wife will cheat on them as well. Because I'm talking about sexuals, not asexuals. I'm talking about sexuals now, because who wants to be in a marriage for 20 years with someone if you're sexual, meant to be with the other sexual? So if you're a heterosexual woman with a heterosexual guy, and the heterosexual guy is just, I'll have sex with my wife, I'll stick my dick in her, that's it. I mean, where is the pleasure in that? Where is the interest in that? What is the fun in that? For asexuals, it's better if we incorporate other stuff into them. And even for sexuals, you know, a woman who's heterosexual, she don't want just a guy to stick in her. She wants all the sensual touching, the love making, the kissing, the caressing, the feeling of her body. She wants a man to put her own needs first before his. And that's why the guys give better sex. My ex, for 8.5 years, he always put my needs first. He was always touching my body, actually, because I used to be naked with him then, touching my body and making me feel absolutely ecstatic without the intercourse before we ever had intercourse. You know, he was making me all pleasured down there and pleasurable experience in my body without the sexual intercourse before he did that. And then he wanted to do that. And I guess I didn't mind doing it so much because I was feeling good in the sexual experience. And if I wanted to stop having sex partway through, I'd say stop, and he'd stop. He always used to ask me, "Is your second time, are you sure?" And I'd say yes. You know, and sometimes we just do masturbation, mutual masturbation, and we wouldn't have intercourse, which suited me better because I preferred that usually to the actual intercourse, you know. And so he was abusive in every other way. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't a nice guy in other ways, which is why this is really weird. It's like seeing two complete different people. But during the sexual times with him, which I did enjoy from the point of view of spending time with him when he's kind and caring, was the rest of the time he wasn't. It's really weird. I can't describe how weird that is because obviously you wouldn't understand. I find it really hard to understand how a guy can be so kind, caring, loving, thoughtful, sensual, nice in that situation, and the rest of the time be an absolute asshole, which he was, you know, shouting at me in the street, you know, like doing physical stuff, you know, like which wasn't good, and like pinning him up against furniture and just being horrible, you know, and being very, very verbally and abusive, emotionally manipulative. It's very difficult when you know, with the sexual times, with the sex, he was a different person. He was kind, caring. Sex should be a beautiful thing, not an ugly thing. Exactly. And you know, I would have preferred to have stayed doing the washing up and listen to my music than have sex with him, I'll be honest. But I mean, if I got an asexual guy and he did like touching me down below, and I've been in a serious committed relationship for a long time and he loved kissing, I wouldn't mind that, you know. Sucking me on the top at the moment, I'm not really comfortable with the guy doing that. I don't know why, but I was in the past, but at the moment I'm not. You know, but down below, if I've been in a serious committed relationship, I'm fine with it. But, you know, but then I like to suck, kiss and lick his top half, but not my half. So, and I don't want to touch his bottom half. So I'm kind of like opposite of that. It's really weird. I'm like bottom, no top. His top, no, his bottom. It's really weird. So I don't have a problem, you know, with, you know, like I don't have a problem with a guy having an erection, you know. I can be quite close to him as long as he doesn't stick it in me and he's clothed. That's fine. I don't mind being close to his body. I don't mind if he's got that and it's touching my back even. You know, I'm very different to other asexual. I'm quite comfortable. I suppose it's because I've been in heterosexual relationships for half my life, and you know, that's the least. You know, like that's the least of my worries. You know what I mean? I've had full-on sex quite a number of times in 8.5 years, like in lots of different positions. Sometimes I used to have it with my ex like 3 times in a row, sometimes nothing for 2 or 3 months, you know. So I'm kind of used to doing that, you know, and I'm used to a guy's sexual anatomy and I'm used to sex. So the fact that he has his clothes on and I can feel an erection doesn't bother me because it's like it's nothing compared to actually having full-on intercourse. Do you know what I mean? It's just nothing to me. It doesn't matter. I actually like the fact he's getting an erection over me rather than other women. I prefer him getting over me because it shows he's attracted to me, even though I don't experience sexual attraction back to him. And even though I don't want to have sexual intercourse with him, if he gets an erection because he's attracted to me, that's great. It means I'm attractive to him. I like to be attractive. You know, some asexuals, they don't want to be attractive. They don't want to, you know, they don't like people telling them they're beautiful. I like to be told I'm beautiful, I'm attractive, I'm cute, I'm pretty, I'm asexy. I don't even mind people say I'm hot if they're going to be nice about it, not if they're going to start talking a load of more disgusting sexual stuff. But if they say, you know, you're hot, you're sexy, you're gorgeous, and they mean it, I'm quite happy for that. I don't have a problem. I like being physically close to a guy with clothes on. I don't mind his penis squashing against my, you know, like my back or my, not in my bum, not in my vagina. I don't want that. But, you know, if he's behind me hugging me and his penis happens to be erect at my back, as long as it's not digging into me and hurting me, I don't mind that. I don't mind being in between his legs. I love being in between his legs and sat on his lap, you know. so long as I'm not having sex doing that, you know, and that's very different to a lot of asexuals. But I'm really comfortable about stuff like that. I actually like being physically close to my guy with clothes on. I mean, I'll be talking about all over this in my asexual sex book, so it doesn't really storybook, you know, so it doesn't really matter anymore because I'm going to be sharing a lot of this with you, so you're probably going to know most of this anyway. It's just going to be told in my book, you know, because in some ways I'd be more suited to a heterosexual guy, in the sense that I don't mind all that physical close contact, but I'm not suited to a sexual guy because I don't want intercourse. I don't want nudity, you know, and I'm not interested in, I've once my ex tried anal sex. Once he started to do that and put his tip of his penis in me, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, don't do that. So he didn't put it all the way in, only in the very edge, and I'm like, I don't want that, not interested, don't do that to me, you know. So I will not have anything like that, you know. So I don't want anal sex, I don't want in vaginal sex, I'm not interested in that. Oral sex I did in the past and received it. I don't really want to do that again, but it's better to do that than have intercourse though. But I don't like the stuff in your mouth, it's gross. So I had to spit it out. I'm not sure if I could do that again. Out of oral sex and masturbation, I'd always prefer to masturbate a guy than have to do oral sex, but I don't really want to do oral sex with him. Not really. And I'm not so into masturbating him. I don't really want to touch his anatomy. But his top half, I you know, from the waist up, I don't mind licking, kissing, touching, sucking that loads and all over, and don't mind sitting on his bum, on his back, and massaging his back for him and kissing his neck while I'm doing that. And like, you know, even with my breast pushed into his chest as I'm like leaning forward to his neck to kiss him, if I'm on the back, like I've done a massage and I'm on his back, you know, because obviously I'll be on his bum, and I lean forward and I'm giving him a nice like maybe neck massage because I've worked my way up his back and my breasts have pushed into his back, which a guy will love, usually, especially if he's sexual, you know, he'll like the physical contact like that. So be like rubbing him. I don't mind doing stuff like that. I'm being very sexually explicit tonight, aren't I? I don't mind doing stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's no bother for me. It's just natural for me. It doesn't mean, you know, it doesn't mean I'm not heterosexual, you know, it doesn't mean I'm heterosexual, it doesn't change any of my sexuality. And I think that's what this asexual sex book or stories book will get across as well, is that just because you're asexual doesn't mean to say you can't have sex, can't enjoy it, you know, and can't like some sexual acts, you know, because some asexuals can. But, you know, unless a sexual guy or a guy, you know, like if a guy, I can't have sex again. I'm totally, my whole body and my mind's adverse to it. My bits down below tingle because I get aroused. That has like a mind of its own, but my actual you know, every cell in my body, you know, doesn't want it. It's so adverse to having sex now, so sex repulsed for me that I can't do that again. I can't force myself to do it. I tried in 2013 with a Bangladesh. I just couldn't do it. I just physically couldn't bring myself to do it. It made me feel like the thought of it, I just couldn't. I just can't. So I can't do that. It's like I've got this force field around me that won't let me do it anymore. It's like you can do loads of things. You can be really close physically, you know, even with his sexual parts near you, close, but you can't do sex, Andrew. You just can't do it anymore. I can't have it anymore. I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't need it. And I don't want, you know, I really don't want it. But some touching I do like in a serious committed relationship because it physically is pleasurable for me and I enjoy it, you know. And so there are some aspects that I like. There's some aspects that I used to like with my ex that I'm not so keen on anymore, which is like the top half stuff he used to do to me, because I don't want to be naked. I don't really feel comfortable with a guy doing that anymore, so it's a bit weird. So, but you know, sometimes you don't know totally what you want and don't want until you're actually in a relationship and talk to your partner, because every relationship, you know, if you get into a relationship, you should be discussing things, you know, like if I'm with a guy in a relationship, a new relationship, I'll be saying to him, you know, like, I'll try this, you know, like, are you okay? I want to do this. Yes. You know, I mean, obviously with a heterosexual guy, he doesn't care what I do. Usually a heterosexual guy would just say, do what you want to me. It's you who cares about what's done to you. I don't care about what's done to me. And they'll go, look, they'll even open their body out and go, do what you like, kiss where you like, touch where you like, suck where you like, do what you want. And that's what their attitude is. Like nearly every heterosexual I've ever been with in my life has always had that attitude that I can do whatever I want to his body. Kiss, lick, suck, touch, you know, do what I want with it. He's quite happy. His body's like mine for the taking, if you know what I mean. But with an asexual guy, I've never had a relationship with an asexual guy before. So I'm really looking forward to that. But obviously with an asexual person, I'll have to be saying to them more, like, what do you like and what you don't like? Like, hopefully I will discuss it all before with them. So we'll like a lot of the same things before, because obviously if your physical needs are very different to each other from the beginning, it's not going to work, because your ghost's going to be like, well, feel like rejected, feel unwanted, feel unloved and uncared for if your physical needs are too different. So if I like really want to be physically close to my guy, which I love being, I love sitting on his lap, I love cuddling him really close, like with my legs wrapped right round him, which is a very sexual position. I like to sit on top of him, give him a nice massage on his back, sit on his bum. I like to be in between his legs, sit on his lap. If he lifts me up, I think that's sweet, because some guys, like younger guys, usually do that, lift me up in the air. I think, whoa, so strong, baby. And I like all that teenager physical body contact with clothes on. I love it. Like, when you see teenagers, they're kissing and they're full on like into each other, like sitting on each other's laps and really into each other, but they're not having sex. I like all that stuff. So I really like, I really like that experience, But if I'm with an asexual guy, obviously we'll have to talk loads and loads before about what we do and don't like. But when I'm with him, I think I can make a asexual guy happy. If an asexual guy like sensual, not sexual, sensual touching at the top, like he like, well, I suppose, if I suck his nipples, he might sing that as sexual. So sexual, sensual stuff, I don't know, whatever he thinks. But, like if he likes his kissing and sucking and licking his chest, and if he likes his neck being kissed and his ears and his little nose. I love to kiss a guy's nose just here occasionally. So I'll go mwah before I kiss his lips, and I'll go, stroke his hair and then kiss his forehead, down his nose into there, because I think that's quite cute. And then kiss his neck. And loads of guys usually like being kissed, like then their earlobes sucking and kissing behind their and down the neck and kissing behind the ears. So I love doing all that, I love doing that, I love lots of tongue kissing as well. I can do open mouth kissing. It doesn't have to be tongue kissing all the time, because I can do open mouth. I only used to do open mouth originally. So I like doing all that type of stuff for the guy. And, I want a guy that's really going to love that about me, that's really going to enjoy my personality, but really going to enjoy like the type of sensual, like even just stroking his arm. I just love, I get attracted to a guy's face, not below the waist, and I get attracted to his shoulders. So even to just stroke his shoulders, and stroke his arm and hold his hand. Sometimes I just love the connection when you hold the guy's hand, it's just this powerful connection between the two of you just from holding hands. I feel so powerful. Like, I love holding hands. Like, if I'm with the guy in a relationship, I like to be holding his hand all the time in public, because I like to be connected to him. So I feel like when I hold his hand, I'm super connected to him. It's like electricity, and I'm feeling warm and like I'm bonded to him, and like, I feel really close to him, and it feels really special, and it's like magical. You can feel like, especially if you have huge romantic and aesthetic attraction for each other, you can literally feel the romance and the aesthetic attraction like fuel up even more. It's like a fireworks going off, and you touch their hand, and it's like you're one with their soul, and it's just amazing. The feeling is just incredible. It's just like, I can't describe it. It just intensifies the romance and aesthetic attraction, and it makes you feel like you want to explode in like an asexual way. Like, this is amazing, this is incredible. I've got this other human being that I'm so connected to. I love holding hands. You see, a lot of people don't think about holding hands like this, but for me, holding hands is so amazing. It's so beautiful. It's like I want to do it all the time when I'm out with the guy. I don't want his hand out of my side, like, give me a hand, unless he has to hold shopping. It's so annoying. Then I get really annoyed. Then it's like, what? It's like, hold my hand while you're holding the shopping bag. It's like, so if he's holding his shopping bag, like sometimes with the handle, it's like I'll wrap my hands in his hand, so I hold the handle with his hand, so I'm still connected to his hand. And I'm not so keen on holding a guy's arm. That to me is very much, I'm the man, you're the woman, and you should just put your arm in my arm, so I'm like all sort of like masculine, and it's a bit like I don't know, it's a bit like he's dominating, like I've got to put my arm in him because I'm subservient. Do you know what I mean? I find that a bit weird. Sometimes I will do that, but I find that very old-fashioned. I find it very like I'm subservient to him, like I'm linking arms with him, like I'm attached to him, whereas he's putting his arm down by his side, or he's just having it up there. It's like I'm attached to him, but he's away from me. I find that very cold a lot of the time, And at certain times there's time, when you need to do that, but the rest of it, I like it as handheld. I'm like, no, we're equal. We're equal partners. We're soulmates. We're together, And that's what I like about the holding hands. It's like an equal partnership. It's like you're equally attached to each other. You're equally in this soulmate bond. So for me, a lot of physical touching means a lot more. Like, you know, like the heterosexual I dated 2 years ago in 2017, he can understand. I think he was an aromantic sexual. I have to say this. I think it was an aromantic heterosexual. I never told him I thought he was aromantic, but I think he was not romantic at all whatsoever, but he was highly sexual. And so he didn't understand why I wanted to hold his hand. He thought that was, you know, weird. And so, but for me, it's very natural. And I said, you know, I like to hold your hand to feel connected to you. And he didn't get that at all. But, you know, it's really important. I mean, imagine, you know, you have this person in front of you that you love and that you adore, and you just hold their hands. You know, I picture myself sometimes on my bed, like in the past with a younger foreign guy, like Indian guy or whatever, and I'm sat on the bed and we're just looking into each other's eyes, chatting away, and I'm literally holding his hand. And I can feel the electricity between us just as we exchange like eye contact, you know, and we're talking deeply about some probably technical thing like website design or something that I seem to get very stimulated by, talking about tech issues, you know. And you know, we're talking about stuff like this, you know, and thus the eyes light up. And when you look into someone's eyes as well and you're holding their hand, you can sort of feel this really powerful energy. It literally is like, you know, like the beautiful sunrise that comes up in the morning when you've got all these pink clouds in the sky, and it's like a sunset, should I say, you've got these pink clouds in the sky. It's like that. You know, that's how it is to me. You know, I see so much romance and so much connection. I see what I want, you know, and I want to get that because I feel it. You know, when I was with the British guy, who I was really aesthetically attracted to and romantically attracted to hugely, you know, I could feel electricity between me and him when we held hands. It was like really sensational, you know. I felt that. I've never felt that before like that with someone, and that's why it was a bit sad that, you know, like it had to end, but it had to end, you know. It's no good. But you know, I take that from it that I felt that, you know, and it was really, really powerful, you know. And so you know, you can do a lot of other things besides sex. But if you're having sex, you know, a lot of sexual guys, they don't know how to have good sex. They're not good at it. They are just stick the dick in types, as I call them. That's all they want to do. They don't have any imagination. They put their own needs first, which is to offload into the woman, basically, because that's how they have an orgasm, which a woman doesn't usually even do that. A lot of women can't even orgasm through sexual intercourse, whatever an orgasm is, because I still don't really get that. But you know, like it's you know what I mean. It's like a woman doesn't really do that. You know, she needs clitoral stimulation, to be quite honest, which I'm being very, very blunt here. But you know, like some asexuals will be in relationships with sexuals, so they do kind of need to know this stuff anyway. And some asexuals do like some of these sexual acts, just not the intercourse itself. So it's really important. But if you get with an asexual person, you need to be you know, you need to be asking them what they like. So, you know, like I will be asking them, do they like me kissing their neck? Are they okay? I'll do that and ask if they're okay with it. Ask if they're okay with me, you know, massaging the back. Ask if they're okay with me getting close. Obviously, I'd want to know this sort of stuff theoretically before I got with them, because I don't want to be, you know, it's no good for me being with a touch repulsed person, you know, because that would be no good, because I need physical contact, a lot of it, a very lot of it, just not intercourse, you know. I need to be like really cuddly. Like if I'm going around to theme parks, zoos and aquariums, I'm in a relationship, I want to be kissing, cuddling, holding hands the whole time. I just love it. Otherwise I think I may as well go on my own. What's the difference? You know, like if you're not going to do that, I have as much pleasure going to the zoo, aquarium or cinema or theme park on my own as I do in a relationship. I feel really romantic towards myself when I'm with myself. So any less from a partner, like if you don't want me to hold his hand, don't want me to kiss and cuddle him, I think I may as well stay single. Because to me, the experience is no different then, because I already feel loved up and energized and romantic and passionate with myself. I feel all cute and cuddly with myself, you know, on my self dates going to these places. I feel all happy and jolly. And then if I had a guy who's like, well, I don't really want to hold your hand and it feels weird kissing in public, and yeah, I don't really want you near me, you know, not like that, because, you know, we're in public. I can't be doing with someone like that, you know. It's not nice for me. It's just like I'm a caged animal. So I need to be able to physically express myself with my guy freely, You know, I need to show him affection. I'm a hugely affectionate girl. I've got such a big heart and loads of affection to give. And I want to be able to give it to that person, you know, and the right person will love it. The right person will be like, yeah, give it to me, you know. He'll be like, yes, give me all the kisses, give me all the love, give me all the attention, give me all the sweet little kisses on my neck, give me all the sweet little kisses on my earlobes, give me the kiss on my nose, give me the tongue, baby. You know, he'll be really into that and he'll be really loving the cuddling and close affection. He'll probably be thinking, wow, I've missed a lot, you know. I know the right person who enjoys that will make really, really happy, because I'll be asexual. You know, if I get an asexual guy that likes that type of thing, he'll think, wow, this is a person I can experience all this physical pleasure with without having the sexual intercourse, which is what a lot of asexuals who like physical contact want. They want all the pleasures of the physical type of relationship, but without the intercourse and without the sex things that they don't like. And so, you know I can make a guy really happy in that way, you know, but it's not about just if a guy, I can make a guy happy, it's about if he can make me happy, you know. I've been with guys, like I said, and 4 out of 5 heterosexual guys, they were all thinking about their own needs, which was literally, I want sex, that was it. You know, it's only the guy I was with for 8.5 years who'd had experience. He told me I hadn't had sex before he met me. I'm still a bit skeptical about that, but he said he'd had oral sex and done other things before, and he obviously was experienced before I met him in certain things, you know. I suspect he used to watch porn and stuff as well. I suspect he did, so that's probably where he learnt some of the stuff. I don't know, but I know he used to have oral sex with his exes, because well, I don't even think they were exes. I think they were just women he was really good friends with and decided to get off with them or whatever he was doing before I met him. So you know, it's just like, you know, I could tell he was experienced, and obviously the book did help him try new things out, positions out. So yeah, but yeah, there's so many, Andy, there's so many guys that just rubbish at sex, and they don't think they have to learn anything else, because all they think is about sex is just stick it in. That's all they think about. They don't think about learning anything else. They don't pick up new skills. So obviously, if there's a heterosexual woman in a relationship and the heterosexual woman loves sex and being made love to, not just stick it in, she'll get very bored of that type of guy. She won't be in a sexually satisfying relationship with him, and she'll probably look around and have an affair, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm absolutely shocked at the amount of women that do have affairs. You know, it's not just guys. You know, I don't trust a lot of women. A lot of women need sexual satisfaction that are highly sexual, you know, and they'll also be with guys who are in relationships with other women, and I personally don't agree with that. I just, you know, it's just like, is that what the world's about? If you're not getting satisfaction, don't be with that person. Don't marry them. Don't be with them. You know, I know sometimes when you get married, it can change things, which is why I don't want to get married. You know, because once you get married, they can start taking you for granted, and they stop appreciating you, stop doing things for you, stop caring, stop physically giving you the pleasure they used to give you, because they're like, oh, I've got you now. I just sit in front of the TV like a couch potato. I don't want that in my life, you know. I want a guy that's really into me, that really loves my personality more than anything, you know, and that really enjoys me touching him in the physical ways that I like to express myself with him, and that he likes doing that with me in the ways that I enjoy. Do you know what I mean? It's really important. So yeah, you know, I'm just shocked at how many people that are heterosexual just don't know how to do sex properly, or have good sex, you know. They don't. And so yeah, I can certainly teach them a thing or two, you know what I mean? Not physically with them, obviously, but you know, I will be doing books for them as well. You know, I've got 2 books I did start, you know, one for men and one for female, but who want sex. You know, I thought, well, I may as well do something for sexuals as well at the same time. But you know, but I'll put in the book that I'm asexual, because I want to introduce asexuality to a global audience. So if I write about a book about sex, you know, just because it's a book about sex, they'll all want it, and then I'll put about being asexual in the front of it. So that's how I will get asexuality into the pockets and minds and lives of sexuals. It's a very good way of doing it, you know, because I can present I'm asexual, but I'm personally not interested in having sex anymore, but I had sex in the past, and you know, it takes me a lot to be sexually stimulated because I don't have the sexual attraction. So my ex was good at doing that, and you know, and I've had bad sex as well, so I can help people, you know. I think it's great because, you know, I've got a very different perspective to a lot of the general public, because I don't experience sexual attraction, so it takes a lot to get me sexually stimulated and actually have a nice experience as far as it goes, if you know what I mean. I mean, I'd rather not. I don't like sex overall, but you know what I mean, to have physical pleasure. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I certainly think I'm going to probably do a book for men and women who are sexual to teach them how to have good sex, because I think a lot of women as well, they get very afraid of saying to the guy what they like, like when I'm in a relationship, like I will be very, I'll be like, like if I'm in a relationship that doesn't involve sex, I will go on top of the guy to kiss him. A lot of stereotypes, the man always goes on top, the man always leads. I like being on top of a guy and kissing him, not all the time, because if I'm doing it all the time it gets a bit much, but a lot of the time, I like to be kissing him. I can control the kissing better then, and I can, like kiss all over his chest and his nipples and his neck, and like I like being the top. It has a lot more room for me to maneuver around his chest area that I like. Do you know what I mean? And so it's really good for me. And there's and I'll tell a guy what I like, and I'll be very honest and say, like, I like this in a relationship. I like to be kissed there, I like to be touched there. I'll be. And some women, they're just afraid of doing that. They're underconfident. They don't think they can say it. They can't express it properly. And I can, I'm not afraid to say what I think and say what I mean, like, especially in tonight's episode, I've been very blunt, but, I guess this is a taster of what's coming up in my asexual sex stories book, I'm probably, like the book does go into a lot of detail, I'm having to talk to people when I'm emailing backwards and forwards about their very intimate sexual details of parts of their life, and it's good that I'm able to be an educator about this stuff, and I'm able to be detached from it to a certain extent, because then I can talk to people in a very matter-of-fact way about their personal story, about their life, to help other people. I mean, I can't wait for this asexual sex stories book to come out. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to be like an Amazon bestseller in the sexuality category, to be honest, in section sexuality. And I think it will reach more minds of sexuals. I think more sexuals will see it and they'll be like, wow, what's asexuality? I've never heard of that before. And I think they'll be like, wow, I never knew this existed. Wow, do you know what I mean? So I think it's going to be an incredible book for both asexuals and to, I'll use a very sexual term, penetrate the sexual market as it were, in getting asexuality recognized as a sexual orientation and taken seriously, And, when I do the sex books for sexuals, because they clearly don't know how to have proper sex or good sex, then, I can explain that I'm asexual and why I'm doing the books I'm doing for sexuals, and I can explain a bit about asexuality, and that'll introduce the topic in their mind, but yet it'll be so full of what they, it'll be geared towards sexual, so I'll be talking sexually because that's what they're used to, that's what they want to hear, that's what their language they speak, so that it'll be very different to my normal asexual stuff. It'll be talking very sexually, and it'll be using very sexual words explicitly to them because that's the mentality and the the mindset they have to learn. So that's how they learn, do you know what I mean? And so it's going to be a book that really is to do with the fact that they stick it in the dick, stick your dick in her types, and this is a book that's showing you how to do the opposite. So if you're one of those type of guys that just wants to do that on a one night stand, then the book isn't for you, do you know what I mean? But if you want to have good sex, this is how, because I'm asexual and I don't experience sexual attraction, but I have had sex in the past, bad and good, so I can explain what good sex is and how to do it. So I think it's beneficial, and that way I can actually get the concept of asexuality into the wider global heterosexual community. Do you understand what I mean? I need my life goal and purpose, obviously, is writing and asexuality. That is my life purpose. I know that without categorically, I know that, right? But my purpose is bigger than just that. My purpose is to get asexuality recognized as a sexual orientation throughout the globe, which means I have to be reaching more sexuals. It's imperative while I'm still on this planet, while I'm still alive, is to get more sexuals to know about asexuality. The more, the better. I need thousands and tens of thousands of people to understand about asexuality, because I want to stop in the future children growing up in schools and with their parents and everything, being conditioned by society to think everyone has to have sex in a relationship and no one's heard of asexuality. I want these adults, these men and women, to hear about asexuality, even if they're not asexual themselves. I want them to hear that someone's asexual. I want them to know the concept, because I need them to understand it's okay for people not to experience sexual attraction. It's okay for people not to want to have sex, and that asexuals are not asexual because they're frigid or because they don't want sex or because just because they don't want sex in and of itself. It's because it's their sexual orientation. It's how they're born. Do you know what I mean? And And it's really important that I reach out to a global audience, but I'm not going to do that if I just stay within the asexual community all the time. I need to branch out. And I have a lot of sexuals that actually watch my videos here. That's why I don't think I get as many subscribers, because a lot of the people I think are watching are actually sexuals as well. I get some, every so often I get people who are sexual pop up and comment on my videos saying I'm watching you. Awesome, Sandra. Thank you, Heather. Love you to bits. You're so amazing. So that's what I intend to do, and I have to reach a global audience. I will do whatever it takes. I'm telling you that now. I will do whatever it takes to get asexuality recognized as a sexual orientation globally, whatever it takes. And I mean that. I absolutely mean it. If I had more money, I would, like a flash, I know what I would be doing, in order to reach more people and shock the world, because they've never heard of it before, most of them, so I will be doing stuff, but I have to take my time and be patient and take step by step by step. I think I'm getting through to people, but I just have to, I have to look after myself as well, because if I'm not here, I won't be here to help you guys. So I have to look after myself, and I've got an aeroplane going over me now. I live not far from an airport. So yeah, anyway, I just know that it's going to be amazing. This asexual sex stories book is going to be amazing. Life for asexuals in the future is just going to keep getting better and better. And, and I can, I'm going to help sexuals to know how to have good sex, because a lot of them aren't good at it. And also to teach them, that things have to be consensual. Obviously, it's really important. And that there is asexuals in the world. And so we can all live more happily amongst sexuals in the world in the future. This is all good. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, Heather. I'm going to conclude for tonight. Thank you, Andy. Absolute pleasure as always. Until next time, embrace your quirky and each other. If anyone's watching this right here, right now, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live and I'll post a new video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content. And if you want to get a copy of my Asexual Perspectives book, the links are below in the description. You can grab your copy now. Good night, Heather. Lots of love to you. Take care. Night, Andy. Night, both of you. Take care. Bye. Thanks for watching.